The opioid crisis, and that is the word that we're hearing used, I think, most often with this issue, remains a major focus of your education. Since you were here throughout the late spring and summer, you had gone out and done some roundtables and talked to folks. We had touched on some of that the last time that you were here, but tell us a little more about what you're hearing, the personal stories and such.
Well, I think I've been at about 27, 28 roundtables. Then I've also been out to talk about the Cetners of Excellence, maybe 5 or 6 or 7 of those. I've had a number of roundtable seminars, meetings to talk about the prescription drug monitoring program. But all of it is really focused on this concern that I feel from all across Pennsylvania that we have a major problem. And it's been called an epidemic, in some places even a plague. In 2014, 2,500 people died from drug overdose. Last year is 3,500. This year, we're now coming up on September, and the number is going to be higher this year. So each year it's getting worse. These are people who are dying from a disease that we can actually do something about. And I think Republicans and Democrats in the General Assembly, my administration, we all want to do something about this, have done some things about it, and we know we can do more. But it is a major problem. I'll just give one story. I mean, it's affecting everybody. It's not just it's a rural and an urban thing. It's a Southwest as well as Northeast. It's central Pennsylvania. It's affecting men and women, young and old, rich and poor, Republicans and Democrats. I don't think there's a family that has been unaffected by this. A person who hasn't lost a loved one, a friend, a neighbor, or isn't personally affected by this. So it's a big deal. It's a big problem, and we've got to get our arms around it. But one of the most poignant things, I was with somebody who I've known for a long time, a professional. I think probably has to be a model parent, I've got to believe. Came up to me with an envelope, and he said, just when you get a chance, take a look at this and read it. I said, why the envelope? Just tell me what the problem is. You know, you have something you want. You got an issue you want to bring up. And he just sat down and started crying. He said, my daughter just died of a drug overdose. Now, that's just sad. And it's sad because it happened, but it's even sadder because it doesn't need to happen. We know we can do something about this. And we are spending billions of dollars on the consequences of not doing something about this in our prisons, in our social welfare system, and just the human losses that we're facing as Pennsylvanians. So we need to do something about this, and everything we're talking about is so much less expensive in dollar terms, and it's so much less expensive in human terms than what we're doing right now. And that's why I think there's such broad support and insistence that we do something.
The Cetners of Excellence, money for those was passed in the budget.
Right.
What's the progress like on those?
I think I've been to 8 or 9 openings around the state. I asked for a certain amount. I got $15 million, I think, in the budget.
Some federal money too, though,
and that
right?
leverages another $5.4 million in federal money. So $20.4 million. We have opened. We had 116 applications for this. We actually gave 20 funds for 20 Cetners of Excellence. And what these centers are meant to do, and this is just one part of the overall strategy, they are meant to help people navigate their way through the system. We have saved about 1,300 lives with Naloxone, Narcan. The first responders, emergency responders, have all, throughout most of the state, have voluntarily taken this on. Even some schools are now taking this on, so that if somebody is suffering from an overdose and would otherwise die, you can actually save their lives by doing this. That by itself, absolutely not near enough. But you have to have someone who's alive in order to get them into treatment. So We need more treatment centers. We need to have doctors who understand the problem more centrally than they do. And we've been talking to deans of medical schools, and they actually absolutely want to change the curriculum, increase the curriculum to encompass information about how you deal with a patient who is been prescribed a painkiller that is opioid based.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rachel.
And do you have the prescription drug monitoring program, which just launched?
Yeah.
Is that going to be a big part of starting these conversations and getting doctors more involved in correct prescribing? We'll call it.
I think. By the way, the prescription drug monitoring program was actually an expansion, a 2014 expansion of something that's been in place since, I think, 1973.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a different schedule of drugs. But the idea was, if I'm a doctor and someone comes in with a problem and I want to prescribe a drug, I ask you as the patient, what are you taking right now? But I'm not sure you're going to know everything that you're taking. So it's helpful for me to have a prescription drug monitoring database that I can go to and say, oh, you're taking this drug. I better not prescribe this because that'll interact poorly with that. 2014 just expanded the schedule from 2 all the way down to 5 or 6, I think, so that there are more drugs in that database and more reason for doctors to want to look at this because they want what's right for their patient. They take the Hippocratic Oath. And they are our allies in making sure that they're doing the right thing in terms of prescribing for their patients. And this should be helpful in terms of identifying a potential sufferer